Chiefs favored by 6 here. They're 8-3, right up there with the Ravens are 9-3. So the Chiefs and the Ravens battling both the Jags and the Dolphins, all 8-3, 9-3, battling for that number 1 seed. Packers coming off their great Thanksgiving win against the Lions, sitting at 5-6 here. What are you looking for in this one?
The Packers, really. The Thanksgiving game, I think, represented like the optimal best case scenario of what this team is capable of. Like, I don't think it represented a realistic, pathway forward. It's just like, if everything goes right, this is what this team could do. And somehow it all happened against the Lions. Like, their pass rush was amazing. All of their offensive skill position players did well. Jordan Love, all of his weaknesses became strengths. Like, he didn't just, generally speaking this year, he has been an inaccurate quarterback, in particular when it comes to ball location. So even on passes where he's completed them, like the pass location itself has been bad. Like, he's been 2 yards off where it's supposed to be. And that's like made life more difficult for receivers. It's stopped yards after the catch. It's, created some incompletions where they weren't there. But like the general ball location has been bad. Against the Lions, it was not just good, it was insane. Like 30-something% of his passes were charted as, accurate plus, like perfect ball location. Not just really good, but dead on. I don't know why, but does that happen again in any way, shape, or form? And does going up against Spags, a really good defense, change that dynamic?
One of the toughest things to do with young quarterbacks is to try to figure out when small sample size trends are going to become the norm, or if they ever will. So if you were listening to us a couple weeks ago, and we would say, look, Sam Howell's trending in the right direction. He's when he's a first-year starter, you assume a first-year starter is going to start slow, hit a tipping point, and just start getting better. Did Sam Howell do that? No, he kind of got worse over the last couple weeks. Well, Jordan Love is kind of at that point. So whichever way you want to split up the data, since week 9, the last few weeks here, Jordan Love is QB 6 in the NFL. Since week 8, he's QB 10. He's graded higher than Patrick Mahomes over the last few weeks. Like, these small, you could split sample sizes any way you want and kind of tell stories any way you want. But a legitimate question with Jordan Love, it does look different the last few weeks. It's not just the results are different. It looks different, right? As you mentioned, the accuracy's better. He also had those plays in the Lions game where the feel and some of the natural playmaking that I think people wanted him to have coming out of Utah State, you started to see some of that, Jordan Love, right? So did we just see a career game against Detroit and a nice little stretch of play? Or is this what Jordan Love is? It's going to be a challenge against a really good Chiefs defense here. But yeah, he's been playing great these last few weeks. Big time throws, low turnover worthy plays. Outstanding run here for Jordan Love. Let's see if he can keep it going.
Yeah, it's a really difficult evaluation for him because everything has to happen on a vastly truncated timetable just because of the nature of, Rodgers was there for years. They've given him this weird contract where they're kind of going to need to decide quickly. So whereas normally you would want to be patient and watch this play out over a couple of years, for Jordan Love, it's like this whole thing needs to happen in the course of one season, right? And the start wasn't great. It was okay. But it sort of looked like Jordan Love from college. And now it's like any 2 or 3 week improvement or change. You're like, this could be it. This could be the development path. And now he's on the right track. And now he's the guy. Quick, give him the $40 million a year contract because we've nailed it. And yet we know like how ridiculous that is as a concept. Like 2 or 3 game swings happen all the time and go in both directions, and it might mean nothing. But you can't argue with all the things you said before, which is the trend is in the right direction, and it has been a significant jump for him. And it's making a difference to all those other receivers. Like, if Christian Watson's post-Thanksgiving thing is real as well, like he's just turned it on, and now we're going to get the last year's run for Christian Watson, the whole Packers offense is different. Because now they have a number 1 wide receiver, Dobbs, the Dontavian Wicks, like all those other guys that they've got in the offense are better because they don't need to be the number 1 guy anymore. Watson's taken that over. They can be complementary piece. Everyone just got bumped down the depth chart one in practical terms, even if not in reality. And Jordan Love is completing a higher percentage and the accuracy is better and blah, blah, blah. Like, the Packers offense is completely different than it was a month ago. On the other hand, maybe none of that's real and they just had an amazing game and had a couple of good games on the bounce, and now they're going to go back to being this like mistake-ridden, bumbling offense that consistently shoots itself in the foot.
Well, it's funny because the story of both receiving cores are kind of similar, right? The Chiefs have all those drops. By the way, the drop totals that PFF has they're a lot different than other sources. I think it was maybe Kevin Harlan actually cited, hey, there's 3 different sources depending on who you listen to. Like, we chart more things than drops. But yeah, the receiving core has...
In a nutshell, why are they different?
There's several different ways to have incompletions. So even if the ball hits a receiver's hands and should be caught, sometimes we'll credit the defense. Sometimes it's a pass breakup. Sometimes it's just he hit him so hard it knocked it out. So even if it should be caught and even gets a good grade, we don't call it a quote-unquote drop.
Yeah.
There's multiple ways that a pass can fall incomplete, not just drops.
The liberal use of the term drop, particularly by announcers, drives me insane. It's like, oh, he dropped it. It's like, you've just shown a replay that shows he didn't drop it. It hit him in the hands. He had caught it. Yeah. And then a guy like either hit him or blasted the ball directly. That's not dropping it.
They also did a good job at Mahomes threw a low screen to Rashee Rice the other day, and they were like, it kind of hit his hands, but it's a bad throw. Right. And it's like, this could be a drop. They actually did a good job of talking through the same way we would, and we actually called it just an underthrow by Mahomes on that particular play. But the Chiefs offense, they did a good job last week. It was a lot of underneath stuff. It's checkdowns and screens, and they kind of opened up the downfield passing attack a little bit more, but they've been still very yak heavy in reliance. They're relying, but Rashee Rice was the guy that stepped up last week because he's been great after the catch. He takes a shallow cross, 30-plus yards for a touchdown. I think we're going to see him featured more and more. So, yeah, I'm curious to see if the Chiefs' offense has kind of turned a corner here and you've got a little bit more confidence in some of those guys.
Yeah, and just Rashee Rice, another week. Like, he now has, last week in playing time terms, he became their number 1 wide receiver. He's been, in practical terms, their number 1 wide receiver for a while, if not all season. But they finally kind of gave him the playing time, the distribution in terms of who's on the field at any given moment to match that. Does that continue? Like, do we see them actually embrace, I know he's a rookie, I know he's a second-round rookie, but Rashee Rice is our best wide receiver. Let's lean into that.
The other matchups to watch here, Rashawn Gary, again, if it said coming out of Thanksgiving, if the Packers play like they did that day, they can play with anybody because they were good rushing the passer. They were forcing turnovers. They were outstanding on offense, as we mentioned. So Gary has been awesome rushing the passer this year. If he keeps that up against both tackles with the Chiefs, I think they have an opportunity there. But again, with Mahomes, there's pressure, and then there's the ability to kind of create those negative plays. Mahomes is so good at avoiding sacks, not turning the ball over. So we'll see if that has an impact. And then the Packers' run defense, there's some games they look good, some games they look terrible. If this is one where they can at least slow down Isaiah Pacheco, they've been hit or miss on that side of the ball, put more pressure on Mahomes, make him feel the pressure of needing to, just win the game through the air and kind of try to force some mistakes. I think the Packers, they have the ability to do that. It's just I don't know how reliable their run defense can be week to week.
Yeah, but I mean their defense has been trending in the right direction as well, in addition to the offense. So that's a sort of quiet element of that team moving in the right direction and going on this little run. Does that continue against Kansas City, whose offense itself has not been, what we expect the Chiefs' offense to be, or is this just too good a team and the Packers get exposed again?
It's one more important storyline here.
Oh, yeah?
Green Bay Packers safety Anthony Johnson with Chris on the call here.
Oh, wow. What if he just spends the entire game talking about Anthony Johnson?
Anthony Johnson Jr. He's got a 54 grade this year, but he's made some plays, missed a bunch of tackles.
Big hit last game.
Yeah, had a big hit, which I thought they were going to call. Was that last week?
Whatever. Thanksgiving,
anyway,
yeah.
I thought they were going to call that a penalty. Was that 2 weeks ago? He had a hit that I thought they would call. Anyway, Chris loved Anthony Johnson around draft time, and I've been waiting for this day where Chris gets to be on the call. Assuming Chris is working this week. He took last week off.
I would assume he is, right?
Yeah.
He only needs the
He's
one
not going to
game
take 2 weeks
right.
off,
Look,
but it's Green Bay. That's what Al used to always be like, I'm skipping out of Green Bay.
Yeah. I mean, look, how long can the fish last?
You think he's been eating fish all week?
He had like 12 pounds of fish. He's got to have been eating it for a while.
You could stagger it. You could freeze it, stagger it a little bit.
You think he like staked up that thing and put a whole bunch of Ziploc bags in the freezer?
Well, he probably had somebody do it for him, but yeah. but the process probably happened. Anthony Johnson, could make some plays here for the Packers. Anytime it's in Lambeau at night, you got to check the weather. Let's see where we are here. Last time I checked, I think it was going to be like 24.
Ooh, getting chilly.
It's supposed to snow during the day, but not at night, unfortunately. So, I don't know. Yeah, 37 during the day, 46% chance of precipitation.
34 and light snow.
I've got 24, 25 at night. Mostly cloudy.
Okay, I got 34 and light snow.
That's good. I mean, it'll be somewhere in between there. I want a snow game. We need some more snow games.
Love snow games.
It's about that time. Where are you going with this one? Packers, Chiefs favored by 6 here.
Going Kansas City.
Yeah, I'll take Kansas City again. But I'll tell you, I'd love to see a good game where the Packers played the same level they did on Turkey Day.
Yeah, Jordan Love and that offense maintaining this run they're on, even if he doesn't 30+% insane, perfect accuracy throws is an unrealistic target, but if he just stays accurate more than inaccurate, that transforms that team into a vastly different proposition for any opponent.
Someone wants us to recreate the Step Brothers movie poster for Christmas cards.
I don't immediately have.
We could do that. We should send Christmas cards to anybody that's a top 1% listener.
Oh God!
Through Spotify, that'd be a good thing to do.
I see. Yeah.
For our listeners,
I don't have one of those.
Buy some sweaters.
Yeah, sweater vest things.
Expensive.
Expensive.
I mean, if you could buy $800 worth of fish, we could buy some sweaters.
I think he paid for his own fish. I don't think he put that on.
Well, I want him to pay for my sweater too.
Yeah.